Hi everybody, this is a new video today. I'm making this video about the Army of Apocalypse. Jay, Will, and I are making a new video today, a new article about we're summing up things. We made an article yesterday which talked about making a presentation of the Army of Apocalypse, and what we did was in the comments I explained a lot about what the Kala Chakra is in the Tibetan tradition, so that was gave people an explanation of that. So Jay, Will, and I got together to explain that basically Jay, Will is explaining that Obama is a man of death. He's giving a culture of death. He's promoting a culture of death. Okay, technology, drones, abortion, war in Iran, Syria, Iraq, death by illness from gay practices. You people know that gays, statistically, gays on average die at 51, whereas heterosexual straights, they die at on average at 74. So that's 17 to 28 years of difference between the average death of gays and the average death of straights. So promoting gay lifestyle is promoting those 17 to 28 years of death. So it's promoting death. And modern culture is you know, with the poisoning of the food, like with the GMOs. Then there's the philosophy of limiting the population. There are a lot of people who want to have a less population. There was a philosopher a long time ago. I think he was in the 18th century. His name was Malthus. It's written Malthus, M-A-L-T-H-U-S. It's pronounced Malthus, I think. He said that as soon as the population rises, then nature automatically limits it. So he says that he says it's a natural thing that you get the great plagues and the great sicknesses like cholera or typhus, or the great plagues and the great sicknesses. They come to a limit population. It's a natural process. And back in the 18th century, he was preaching, he was writing that the population was too big, so that there was going to come some big calamity, and that the population would naturally, because that's the way nature worked. And of course it didn't happen. Everybody knows that it didn't happen, because the population in the 18th century was very, very small. There was less than 1 billion. Now we're at 7 billion. And so his kind of thinking developed a lot, and so they said, oh yeah, well, as long as the population gets to be big, then these big calamities are going to come and bring it down. So there are a lot of people, particularly left-wingers, who are going around saying, oh yeah, there are these great calamities which are coming, a bit like global warming. Same thing. There are always people saying there's going to be a great calamity. But me, for example, there are a lot of people say, hey, this is an end times prophet. Gare Smith is an end times prophet. I'm not an end time prophet at all. That's true. That's completely false. I just discovered that 666 was drawn in the Illinois lottery the day after Obama's election. So that makes him the Antichrist, and I don't know why, or it has no relation to whether it has no relation to explain that he's the Antichrist because there's too much population, or because because he's a gay, or because he's doing war in Iran, or because he's using the drones. That's not the reason I'm saying he's the Antichrist. I'm saying it because of the number 666. But when I look at Obama, yeah, he is a perfect illustration, and he fits the description because of all those things, because of being gay, because of the corruption and the evil of the system which he is putting in place. So all of these descriptions that Obama is doing all these things and promoting death by all kinds of ways, it proves that he is the Antichrist. So here in the same paragraph, the same part of this article, J. Will is saying that we are now calling on all people of all faiths to gather and to reject Barack Hussein Obama's fraud and devastation and evil. So that you see, this is now we're willing. This article is to gather people to join our army of Shambhala, which is to denounce Obama's evil. So so now in the Tibetan Tantric Buddhism, it explains that the prophecy of the apocalypse is that there will be a Demon-King Krinmati here, the great battle of the end times. And Obama perfectly fits the description of Demon-King Krinmati. He fits it perfectly. And in the Christian apocalypse, it describes that the Antichrist will be marked by the number 666. So Obama is marked by the number 666 because that came up in the lottery in Chicago. So Obama has the Christian 666 prophecy, and he also fits with the Kala Chakra prophecy perfectly. Now, in the Christian Antichrist prophecy, it says that the Antichrist will be an abomination, which is gay. And of course, Obama was at the Christian church of Jeremiah Wright. And Jeremiah Wright said he could continue to walk in his sins, which is the homosexuality, because Jeremiah Wright's church is a homosexual church. Obama learned from Wright how to be a Marxist while hiding behind a face of Christianity. And also, Jeremiah Wright said, because Jeremiah Wright used to be a Muslim, so Jeremiah Wright said in an interview that he taught Barack Obama how to be a Christian coming from the Muslim faith, how to be a Christian when you had been a Muslim. He said that. So he taught him how to be a Marxist and how to be a Muslim behind a facade of being Christian. Now, J. Will explains how Obama makes light of like compromise with Christianity, and he just interprets Christianity exactly as he wants to do it, exactly the way he wants to interpret Christianity. So Obama, this illustrates that Obama is exactly the description of the Christian Antichrist, because it's the Christian Antichrist is a great deceiver. And, well, he's a liar. He's a liar. And he's a false prophet. He passes off as, he's a false Christ because he passes off as being a Christian, but he's just a fake Christian. He just does it to validate and to do whatever he wants, basically. And what he does is he just he just mixes everything up and he corrupts things. What Obama does is he corrupts whatever he does. He corrupts things because in the Buddhist Antichrist prophecy, it says that he will be a person who has a mixed faith of Jewish, Muslim, Christian, and also Manichaeism. But all of those faiths in Manichaeism, there's part Hindu, part Buddhist. But he corrupts all of it. He's nothing. He's everything and nothing. So then it says here, it should be noted that Kalachakra, the faith of Shambhala, is not a physical, but a spiritual and figurative, meditative field. So that's very important to understand that Shambhala is it's a meditation practice. Shambhala and Kalachakra is a meditation practice. It's a like a visualization. So it doesn't say to do anything. What the Kalachakra does is to spread the word. It's spreading the truth and spreading the word. And the every person, the warrior of Shambhala, he is projecting himself into this world of meditation. That's what it's doing. There's no real army, no weapons, or war is waged. And Buddhism and Hinduism never waged war, and they never will wage war. They're not going to start waging war. So if you don't wage war, there's no real army, no weapons, and no war is waged. So that's very important to understand that, because there's a lot of lying made by Westerners, and there are a lot of Westerners who are just plainly mistaken. They imagine that this is actually a realization of some kind of war. And at the end, I'll talk about that a little more. So, now there's one thing which people don't know and which they have to know, and that is that they have to know that the king of Shambhala, the final king of Shambhala, the 25th king of Shambhala, was called Rudra Chakra, and he is a Westerner. It's written so, for example, in Wikipedia, on the page about Shambhala, it says there are various ideas about where the society of Shambhala is located, but it's often placed in Central Asia, north or west of Tibet. So if Tibet is right above India, it's west of China, and it's bordering on Kazakhstan and Russia. So north and west of Tibet is Kazakhstan, and it's in Russia. And so that's the west. Well, it's Kazakhstan, and then Kazakhstan is part of Russia, and that is Western society. But it doesn't say where it is. It can be in Europe. It can be Europeans. So basically, it says that the king of Shambhala is not a Tibetan. And Tibetans know that Tibetans don't consider Shambhala to be in Tibet. That's part of the mythology of Shambhala. It's not in Tibet. It's Western nature. North and west means that's not Arabs. It's not like Iran. Iran is like Persian. It's not Persians. It's not. It's north or west. North or west of Tibet. So basically, that's like, well, let's say white people. It's white people. So it's a Westerner. Basically, just to give it a general description, we'll say it's a Westerner. So the Tibetans are wrong about the dates, because they're saying that the dates for the apocalypse are 400 years from now, but that's not correct. Nobody can say that's correct, because there are a lot of errors in the chronology of the Kalachakra teaching. So there are a lot of errors that in the chronology. So one can't trust the chronology for the kings of Shambhala. So they make a chronology of kings of Shambhala, and they say, oh, the apocalypse will be in 400 years. One can't do that because it's not reliable. The chronology and the timing and the historical dating is not trustworthy. So so first we know that the king of Shambhala will be a Westerner. He'll not be a Tibetan. Then secondly, we know that their dates are not right. So if you put those two together, you say, okay, it's the king of Shambhala will be a Westerner, and it can be now. It can be right now. That's what it means. Let's go on a little further. When I got some comments in the last article, there was a Christian missionary type of person who came along, and he said, hey, this Buddhism is nothing. He was just sweeping away Buddhism. And because he says, oh no, the Messiah and everything, that's us, that's Christian. It has to be Christian. It only can be Christians. So the only thing, because he says is the apocalypse is the second coming of the Messiah. So he was just sweeping away Buddhism in one sweep. You can't do that. That doesn't work at all. So because from what I just explained, okay, the Messiah can be an American, or definitely will be a Westerner. That's for sure. Being an American, yeah, that fits perfectly. But not being a Christian. Not being a Christian, that doesn't fit. That doesn't fit at all. Being a Christian does not fit. And furthermore, in the Bible, it says that Christianity will be corrupt. It says the church, quote unquote, the church, quote unquote, that means Christianity, will be totally corrupted because of false Christs inside it. And it says, so that's, in other words, the Bible is saying that Christians will not be saved in heaven. And if they want to find some comfort, it's in Buddhism also, in the Kala Chakra, it also says that Buddhism will be completely devastated. So all the old religions will be destroyed in the apocalypse. So this Christian guy who says, oh, Buddhism is no good, other religions are no good, heretical religions are no good, blasphemous are no good, only Christianity. Well, that doesn't work because the Bible itself says the church will be corrupted. There'll be a lot of false Christs, and the guy who says that is a false Christ. Okay, let's move on. So, because that's perfectly clear. I can come back to that as many times as I want. That's perfectly clear. All the old religions will be, the only people who will be saved will be those who spread the word of the apocalypse, which is what I'm doing, which the army of Shambhala is doing. Okay, so our job is to spread this word. That's the job of the army of Apocalypse, the army of Shambhala. So in the Tibetan Buddhist Apocalypse, it says that the Antichrist will have a religion of Adam, Noah, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, Mani, the founder of primarily Iranian religion, Manichaeism, Muhammad, and Mahdi, the Islamic Messiah. So basically, those faiths of those people, those leaders, are Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, plus Hindu, Buddhism, and Mani's faith. Okay, this is the final thing I wanted to say, is that there are a lot of false theories about Shambhala which have been spread by occult societies and people like the murderous Nazis. Hitler had people who were very close to him. I think there was a guy called Rosenberg. You can get back to that. There's a lot of documentation about that on the internet. And they followed the philosophy of a guy called Theophan List. Theophan List was very famous in Germany. He had a lot of influence. He was a big he dealt with occult societies and stuff like that, but he was like mainstream philosopher about all this German philosophy of being going back to nature and all this stuff, and they copied a lot of their philosophy on Shambhala. And so this has been, this has really made a lot of lies be spread about Shambhala. But from the occult societies and the Nazis, they were like close to these to the occult societies, which were spreading the idea and the myth of Shambhala, but it was totally misinterpreted, and they interpreted it in their own way. So these were like clones or copies, but they were fakes. These were fakes, because they have no understanding of what is the meaning of Shambhala, what is the meaning of Kalachakra. They don't get it at all. They have no idea. These people are counterfeits. They have no idea that this is actually a meditative practice, and that one has to understand these things on a metaphorical level. They have no understanding of that. These occult societies and these people. I mean, this is just a corruption, okay? The Tibetan Tantric Buddhist practice of Kalachakra and Shambhala are the real thing, but other people have corrupted it. I mean, it's exactly the same as you can say Westerners went to Africa or went to Papua New Guinea or all kinds of places, like in Second World War, and they stayed in those countries. And some people can reproduce what American culture is in a very, very, very precise way. I spent 1 year in Taiwan, and in Taiwan they can reproduce Western examples perfectly. For example, they can, like Western thinking, for one, but also making machines, for example, technology. Look at the computers. Like the computer I'm working on right now is in ASUS. I think it's made in Taiwan. I mean, the people go to Taiwan and they get their stuff made because the Taiwanese can make it perfectly. But then you go to Papua New Guinea and you look at their cargo cults. These are like villagers they live naked. They're very primitive, and they reproduce airplanes, and they venerate them. They worship these airplanes, and they're just made up of sticks which they get from the jungle, and they make these airplanes. It's called a cargo cult. They have a cult, which is a religious cult, which is devoted to these airplanes. So they reproduce airplanes because they see the planes up in the sky. But if you go to Taiwan, they make these computers really well. So it's not because somebody tries to reproduce something. When the Nazis reproduced the Shambhala religion, that was, they made it completely corrupted and completely phony. It was just an echo. It was just like an echo. It wasn't the real thing. They had no idea what Shambhala and Kalachakra was about. So in the army of Apcoalypse, which we're doing now, and spreading the idea that Obama is the Antichrist, we don't want any phonies or counterfeits. We want the real thing. So that's why we're slowly now, in each article, clearing up these mistakes and errors which people are making. So we're going to get there slowly, people, and we're getting there. Bye-bye.